So here's a CAD drawing of one of the single solenoid valves. And this is actually, I pulled this off of the SMC website. SMC is the company that manufactures, or at least they did manufacture the valves that came in the kit last year. So this is actually an AutoCAD inventor file. So anybody that's also going to be modeling the team's robot, SMC has a really good website. You can go there, put your model number in, and it'll spit out a downloadable file for you. So you can see here in the picture, the main body is here. The spool sits inside of there, moves back and forth. Here's your solenoid setup, and then you get any number of varieties of electrical interfaces. But they just gave wire leads hanging off of it. And here's the same thing, but a double solenoid valve. So again, you can imagine the spool in here. In the de-energized state, it's got a spring on both sides to just kind of keep it balanced. And then when you energize either one of those, that spool is going to shift one way or the other and put air out one direction or another. One thing you never want to do is energize both of those solenoids at the same time, because they're both going to push and fight each other, and you're going to end up with too much current. Here is an arrangement that the team used. You can see kind of a fuzzy picture, but here's the one valve, and here's another valve. They're both double solenoid valves, and this line here is the one that's coming in from the compressor air tank regulator area. So that's coming in, and they're splitting that off and feeding two different valves with it. And then this valve has a tube that goes out to the cylinder, and this one looks like it's got a tube here and then another fitting without a tube attached to it. Something to keep in mind, what they did here, they brought their pressure line in and then split it and sent it to two different valve stations. You can buy what's known as a manifold or a multiple station subplate. That would allow you, and especially if you have a lot of pneumatic functions, you could get a 6-station subplate where you bring one pressure line in, and then within the aluminum plate, it distributes that to all of the individual valves.
Since they've only got one side plumb, they could have gotten by with the single.
Here? Yep. Yeah, you can see they've got this port plumb, which tells me that they're not doing anything. They're probably sending that out to a cylinder that has gravity feed return, so it comes back down under the force of gravity. So they could have used the single solenoid valve. They could have used it elsewhere. Maybe they broke it. That's kind of cylinder spring return. I don't know if you can specify that as a, you know what I mean?
I know that the ones we get from them, but you can't get spring return ones. At least the ones they donate. I mean, I know when it comes to, like, you talked about at the end, the vacuum cylinders and stuff like that, the gas shocks and all that, they don't really consider pneumatics, so you'll have to look through the rules.
You can specify a cylinder to have a spring that returns it. I just don't know if it's something that lets you do with the cylinders that they offer to you.
Would the first or the second way put out more equal PSI?
Here?
Now you described this one and you described the other one?
With the manifold?
Yeah.
The pressure on either way is probably, it's not going to be affected.
It's going to be about the same.
Yeah. What you'll gain by going to a subplate design would be size. You know, you don't have to have a whole bunch of T's. In this case, it's not really a big deal, but if you had a lot of valves, you can imagine this, but 5 more valves.
What are possible problems?
Here? Well, the more connections you've got, the more leak points you've got, and the more leak points you've got means you're going to run out of air faster. Especially, one of the options you've got is to not have the compressor on the robot. If you don't need it, what you can do is charge up your tanks before the match, take the compressor off, and run the whole match without the compressor. So you're not draining your batteries, you don't have the weight, you don't have the size. If you go that route, you want to make sure that you're not leaking your air the whole competition and losing it to stuff you're not doing meaningful work with.
Are there ways to ensure that?
Yeah, the plastic tubing and fittings, they're like a push-to-connect style. They're not designed to be connected and disconnected 100 times. Once you put the tubing in and pull it out, it's a good idea to cut it to length and put it back in with a new seal where it grabs it. You can't do that too many times though, because then you're going to start shortening up your tube every time. Other things, you're going to get Teflon tape. All your fittings are going to have, you see some of the little white tape there. Anytime you put the fitting into the subplate, you're going to need to put the tape on it and seal it. You don't, I mean, these are leaks that you might not even be able to hear or feel, but they'll just constantly be leaking air. So, we've created air, we've stored it, we've reduced the pressure, we know how to control it, so now what do we do with it? So once the air leaves the valves, it's going to go out to the cylinder. So for this arrangement here, we've got our pressure line coming in, we've got a 2-solenoid valve, and that's either going to put air out this line or air out this line. So what happens when you put air in this end of the cylinder, it pressurizes this chamber, and the cylinder, the rod and piston assembly extends. And then when you put air in this side, just the opposite, it retracts. This one here only has a single solenoid valve. Same thing here. So these are cylinders that you're not going to be able to control in both directions. So you would have to have either a spring return or a gravity return or some other method of getting them back. I took this off the web. This is one team's cylinder order that they placed with Bimba. You get 3 free ones, so they elected to spend a lot of money on cylinders. A couple more quick videos here. These are known as disposable cylinders because they're not repairable. This is kind of industrial training.
The disposable cylinder consists of a rod and piston assembly with piston seals, a barrel, and 2 end caps with ports. The rod end caps have bushings and rod seals. Both end caps are partially set into the barrel, and the ends of the barrel are permanently crimped to the end caps. Since the end caps are permanently fixed to the barrel, the usual replaceable parts cannot be replaced. Pressurizing one end while exhausting the other causes the cylinder to extend or retract. You have completed this training section.
So you can see here, the industry standard, if you're looking through diagrams and schematics, red is going to represent pressurized air, and blue is going to represent low pressure air or exhaust air. So they're showing here when they put this red air in, that means that it's pressurized. So that pressure over the area of that piston creates a force. And if there was something pushing back on it, it wouldn't move, or it would at least have resistance to movement. But like this diagram, as soon as you pressurize that, it's going to extend. The other way it's going to retract. Like the video said, this is a disposable cylinder. You don't have to worry about maintaining it, repairing it, taking it apart. It's going to arrive, it's going to be kind of crimped together. You're not going to really get inside of it. So you're just going to use it. If the seals inside happen to go bad, there's no way of fixing them. You just order another one. But,
So that's what you get your kit parts are disposable?
Yep, you get one, and then there's a form you can order up to 3 more. And the form that you get and the ordering of the extras is really, the generic one you can do something with, but if there's a very specific task that you want to do, you want to size your cylinder, figure out how big it needs to be, how long it needs to be, how you want to mount it. There's a variety of options, and then you can order that exact cylinder. And they'll ship it to you.
You don't have the address and order form until you get the kit part.
Right.
They send you like a coupon basically, and you have to put in your code when you go online.